All right, let's kick things off with the puzzle. Now, at first, it's going to sound completely impossible, maybe even a little ridiculous. But trust me, you're going to want to stick with me on this one, because the answer holds a really powerful secret about how we can all be better problem solvers. So here it is. How do you put on your shoes before you put on your socks? Just take a second and think about that. Your immediate reaction is probably something like, wait, what? You can't? And look, you're not wrong, but you're also not entirely right. So why does our brain just slam the door on this idea? Let's actually treat this like a serious thought experiment and break down why it feels so, well, impossible.
Yeah, our brain just immediately shuts this down. I mean, think about it. A lifetime of experience has taught us that there's a specific, unchangeable order to getting dressed. It's a fundamental rule, kind of like gravity. Socks first, then shoes. End of story, right?
But what if the impossible is really just a limit we've accidentally placed on our own thinking? Let's dig into why our brains build this wall in the first place.
So here's the little unconscious program that runs in our heads. Rule 1, socks have to touch the foot. Check. Rule 2, the shoe has to go over the sock. Check. So the conclusion feels absolutely inevitable. The order cannot be changed. It's fixed.
And that rigid logic, right there, is what creates what you could call a mental box. The walls of this box, they're built entirely out of our assumptions. And in this case, the biggest, thickest wall is our assumption about what a shoe even is.
This really gets to the heart of it. Our biggest assumption is that a shoe is this hard, rigid object. But let's challenge that. What happens if we ask, do they have to be? What if a shoe isn't what we automatically imagine it to be?
And this is where it gets really fun. Because as soon as you start questioning that one core assumption, you can break out of the mental box and find not just one, but actually multiple third ways to solve this so-called impossible problem.
Okay, here it is, our first aha moment. What if the shoe isn't made of stiff leather? What if it's more like a soft slipper or one of those fabric water shoes? If the shoe is totally soft and foldable, you could easily put it on your bare foot and then just slide the sock on underneath it. Boom, problem solved. We didn't break the rules, we just changed the properties of the object itself. Now that's a fantastic answer for sure, but there's another solution that's, well, even more elegant. And this one doesn't even require a special kind of shoe. It just requires a completely different way of thinking about the process. You know, this solution actually comes from a real-world problem. It was developed by a doctor who only had one arm. For him, the standard way of putting on a sock and then a shoe was genuinely difficult. His situation forced him to have an incredible insight. What if you stopped treating the shoe and the sock as two separate steps, and instead, what if you combine them into one?
Here's how this genius method works. First, you just place the sock inside the shoe, getting it all set up. Then, in one single, smooth motion, you slide your foot into both at the exact same time. You see? By combining the steps into one single unit, you've brilliantly broken the unbreakable rule.
So, you've probably figured out that the point here isn't really about shoes and socks, is it? It's about the incredible mental model this little puzzle reveals. It's a tool called reverse thinking.
Reverse thinking, or as you see here, ni xiang si wei, is the formal name for this whole process. It's all about intentionally questioning the most basic, obvious rules to find those clever solutions that everybody else misses because they're still stuck inside that mental box. And let's be super clear here. This isn't just about disagreeing with things for the sake of it. It's a genuine creative strategy. It's about giving yourself the freedom to escape that rigid step-by-step thinking and see this whole landscape of new possibilities that you didn't even know existed.
So, now let's take this powerful idea and zoom out, beyond our little puzzle, because the world is constantly trying to trap us in the exact same kind of mental box.
Think about it. So often, really complex problems are presented to us as a simple binary choice. It's either A or B, good or bad, right or wrong. That kind of framing immediately limits our ability to find creative, nuanced solutions. It basically forces us into a corner before we've even started thinking.
We're often forced to ask this, is someone an enemy or a friend? But that's usually the wrong question. Reverse thinking pushes us to see the whole spectrum in between. What about a rival, or a neutral party, or maybe even a temporary collaborator working on a shared goal? This is another huge trap. Was it a success, or was it a failure? This binary choice completely ignores the most valuable possibility. By reversing the logic, we can see that an outcome isn't just an endpoint, it's a stepping stone.
It's a data point. It's a lesson that might just be more valuable than success itself.
And this is the ultimate trap, right? The this or that choice. Reverse thinking isn't about picking which door to go through. It's about rejecting the whole idea that there are only two doors in the first place.
So, whether we're talking about shoes and socks, or some of the most complex decisions in your life, just remember this: the third way is always there. You just have to be willing to break down the walls of your own assumptions to go and find it.
So I'll leave you with this question. Think about a problem in your work or in your life that just feels completely stuck, totally impossible. What is the sock before shoe rule that you're following without even realizing it? And what happens if you decide to break it?